Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the assignment that's due. That's our in-class assignment for the 25th. I do use the term a little bit loosely because I'm going to give the Round Rock students a break and they don't have to come to class that day. Victoria Chemicals is due, so I'm thinking that maybe that saves them a drive. I will be here. I'll be in the lab for anybody who wants some help. And the assignment's going to be posted probably in the next couple of days, therefore you can probably do it in advance if you want. Okay, so let's get started. I'll open up the documents that are on Monday, July 25th. The video that I'm currently recording will also be there, interestingly enough. So it's kind of strange. But you'll be able to see that there too. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to use the spreadsheet that I've also posted to do the following sensitivity analysis. You're going to, starting from the Assumptions tab, you're going to pick the 3 assumptions that you think have the most impact on the resulting share price estimate, and construct a data table for each showing the effect of a change in the assumption on the value of a share of stock. You're going to pick 2 of the above assumptions and do a 2-way data table showing the effect of a simultaneous change in the 2 assumptions on the value of the share of stock. Then the Valuation tab shows the assumptions that were made about long-term growth rate and WACC in valuing the stock. I want you to do a 2-way data table showing the effect of simultaneous changes in those 2 variables on the value of a share of stock. Then the last thing you're going to do, well, not the last thing, but the last thing you're going to do in the spreadsheet is use GoalSeek to find the WACC that would make Hershey's intrinsic value equal to its current stock price. So based on your analysis, would you recommend a buy, sell, or hold on Hershey stock? And I would suggest here, just put that in the spreadsheet. It's okay. I will grade it. Just put a separate tab if you don't mind, so that I'll be able to find your answer. Okay, so I did something a little bit weird here. So first of all, this is similar to the valuation spreadsheet that you did for Dr. Lessig, but it's got a lot more detail on it. This is sort of the way I do evaluations when I'm trying to do them for class or for my students to have a competition that they enter and that kind of thing. So this is the way I tell them to do it, so I'm telling you my it's not really my secret, but it's a handy dandy tip on how to do your pro formas and make them balance nicely and neatly. So here's the balance sheet, and we've done these assumptions. We've made these assumptions, and we've got this forecast. Cash and cash equivalents comes from the statement of cash flows, and of course the stockholders' equity is tied to the income statement. The capital surplus is tied to the income statement. So I see an error. Excuse me, it's not an error. I was looking in the wrong place. Retained earnings is tied to the income statement, so you can see where that happens. Okay, so the income statement matters, the balance sheet matters, the statement of cash flows balances back from beginning cash, which is ending cash for the previous year, plus the net change in cash. You get your ending cash, and that's the amount of cash that makes the balance sheet balance. If you want to change the debt, you can manually change that, so I could make that $1,500 or 1.5 million. This is actually in thousands, so it would be billion. And that changes the amount of cash because everything kind of flows through the spreadsheet and fixes everything for you without using circular references. So I think it's kind of slick. So you can take a look at that if you want. Here's a spreadsheet that gives the assumptions. I've done something a little bit funky here. I've made them all rely on one cell, the first column, so that you can change just one column in order to do your data table. And then for valuation, you've got here your long-term growth rate and your weighted average cost of capital. These are the things that you're going to change for your data table. And you've got the intrinsic value and the current share price on this page as well. So I'm going to pick the things that I think are going to matter the most. So I'm starting with sales growth. What difference will it make if I have a lot higher sales growth? And you can see that there's a huge difference in the intrinsic value per share if I do that. But if I change cost of goods sold as a percentage of sales, like chocolate tragedy goes up again, in price. So that makes a huge difference in the intrinsic value per share. So I'm going to pick those two. I don't think selling administrative expenses, if they're able to lower those, they do make a big difference. So I'm going to go ahead and change those first three items. Okay? So to do a data table, here's what you do. You do your equals, and you click on this intrinsic value per share. You're just putting that in a cell. And now I'm going to say, all right, and I'm going to go ahead and label this sales growth. And where do I want to vary from? So I'm going to start with the negative 1%, and I'm going to add a 0.5%. Until I get to, let's say 5%, or 7.5%. I don't think it's going to have to be higher than that. And I kind of like mine to look like it's a percentage. And now I'm going to select that whole thing. And I'm going to go data, what if analysis, data table, and what row input cell means is if your data is in a row, then you put in that row input cell, you put the thing that you changed. Ours is in a column because I've got this in a column right here. Okay? So I'm not going to put anything in row input cell. In column input cell, I'm going to click on where I've got sales growth. And it's going to fill in that table for what the stock price would be, assuming, or intrinsic value would be, assuming that sales growth was negative 1%, 0.5%, 0, and so forth. Okay. And I can make this look a little bit nicer. So that's good. Now, I'm not going to show you the other two. What I'm going to do is show you how to do a two-way data table. And it's the same, except now let's say I'm going to change sales growth and cost of goods sold as a percentage of sales. So I want sales growth up here. And that's going to go from negative 1% to positive 7.5%, like before. Oops, too many zeros. I don't know what I did there. Apparently made a mistake there, and like this, as far as 7.5. Okay, and then this is going to be, I'm just going to put it here. I'm moving these over because I don't have enough room. And I'm going to write COGS as a percent of sales. And I can fix these to where they look nicer, but it's not necessary. That's what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm going to move this up because I want to start that. Well, that's okay. I'll leave it right there. Cost of goods sold as a percent of sales is going to start at 50%. And it's going to go up by 5%. Or let's say 2.5%. Until we get to a maximum of 80%. Okay. Now, where the intrinsic value is going to go is right up here in the corner. So I'm going to go intrinsic value per share. It's going to be right there. And then I'm going to select both of those. I mean, all of that. The whole table. Like that. And I'm going to do data. What if analysis. Data table. The row input cell is what's in this row. So that's sales growth. And the column input cell is what's in the column, which is right there. Okay. So that will show you the stock price given these different scenarios. So you can see with sales growth being high, oops, I didn't select it all. That's okay, you get the idea. When sales growth is high and cost of goods sold as a percent of sales is low, that's when you have the highest stock price. Okay, we even got some places where we have no text, which is nice. Okay, so that's how you do the data table. One more thing that you have to be able to do is using GoalSeek, find the WACC that would make purchase intrinsic value equal to its current stock price. And here's how to do that. I'm going to go to the valuation page. And when you do the part B, you're going to need to do it on this page. It doesn't want you to do data tables that lead out into other pages. So here's what we're going to do for that GoalSeek. So I've got everything on this page, and I want to find, this is the current share price as of today. It may be different when we do it, but not very different probably. I want to find the WACC that makes the intrinsic value per share equal to this current share price. So I'm going to use, again, what-if analysis, but this time I'm using GoalSeek. Now probably you're going to want to make a copy of that script, that worksheet, because you don't want to change it, and GoalSeek will change it. So I'm going to enter to see, and I'm going to go to data, what-if analysis, GoalSeek. I'm going to set cell C27, which is intrinsic value per share, to value, and I have to type this in, 109.61. I can't do cells, for example. By changing cell B24, which is the weighted average cost of capital cell. Okay. So if the WACC is 7.5% and the long-term growth rate is 3%, the intrinsic value per share is equal to the current share price. So for the answer to part D, you're going to want to put another sheet in, and say answer D, and you can use these two sheets for answers to A. So let me know if you have any questions. I will be there on the 25th to help you with this.